Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And I've got to say, boy, am I good. Yesterday afternoon, I did a video about John Swinney saying that there weren't just two genders and the whole thing was open to debate. You know, basically didn't know what a woman was, didn't know what a man was, couldn't define any of this. This is the man, of course, that was asking 5-year-olds how they felt when they were touching themselves. This is a man who said it's quite acceptable for trans people, trans men who like to dress up as women to go into women's safe spaces. This is a man who's yet to comment on nurses being suspended because they don't like undressing in front of biological men. Anyway, in that video yesterday, I tell you what I said, JK Rowling will be in on this one. She will not like this. She is bound to be having a word. Well, guess what, folks? Here we go. Let's have a look. Because JK Rowling has indeed gone in and is slamming Swinney over what he's saying, over his gender stance, as the headline goes. Now, this is in The Spectator, so chances are you probably haven't seen it, but it's worth a look. So let's have a look and see what JK is saying about that mad, bad idiot, John Swinney. Here goes. So JK Rowling slams Swinney over his gender stance. Well, I suppose he stands with his legs open, doesn't he? There he is. Look, Swinney with his bestie. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Makes you wonder what goes through their perverted little minds when you see some of the policies they've done. Let me move this over to the left. It's sort of imposing. There we go. So another day, another drama, as the piece goes. As I say, this is in The Spectator. This time, Scotland's First Minister, John Swinney, is in the spotlight after he conducted a rather odd radio interview with BBC 5 Live on the trans debate. Now, this was yesterday when he had, or yesterday morning, I think, with Nicky Campbell when I did the piece on that. And he lost it. It was a bit of a car crash interview. I think Craig Houston covered it in some depth. So go check Craig out, see what he has to say. But it's one of these where you've got a man being asked questions and he's quite out of his depth. I mean, you can see this is a guy that really hasn't prepped. He's Joe Biden'd this interview. He's like looking out when you can't see him, but he's on the radio. But you know, he's just so struggling, you know, to give an answer that, if we say, that would be politically acceptable to all sides. But of course, there cannot be an answer that is politically acceptable to all sides because some things are absolutes. And no matter what you say, you know you're going to upset someone. And that's why I always say, look, I'll tell it as I see it. And if it upsets people, tough. You can't please everybody. And when you try to please everybody, you end up, you know, annoying everybody. So don't. Pick a side, stick with it. End of story. Anyway, with 3 days to go until the general election, just the two now, obviously this was yesterday, and some polls predicting Swinney's nationalists could lose more than half their Westminster seats. Oh boy, it's getting worse and worse all the time. The FM is under pressure to persuade more voters to back the SNP on the big day. Now, if he wants more and more people to vote SNP, he really needs to pitch to his audience. And I think the 99.9% of people out there who don't want to see grown men undressing in front of their 9-year-old children are probably not pleased by his stance on this. Hey, John, do you think it's right for a grown man to expose his big lady cock in front of a 9-year-old girl in a ladies' changing room? Well, what's he going to say? Because his actual stance is, yes, that is acceptable. It's weird, isn't it? He's a weird man. But then, like I say, you see some of the things he wants to teach in schools and inquire after 5-year-olds for, you know. Something there. In my mind, at least, I think there's something decidedly dodgy. It's just my opinion. I can't prove it, and I'm not going to say anything directly because, you know, he'll sue. But something there. Anyway, Swinney was one of the MSPs who vote in favour of the Dear Leader's gender plans. Yet he now seems to be a little less convinced of them. Well, might be less convinced, but he's still pushing the bollocks, isn't he? Struggling to sum up his own stance on the trans issue, the First Minister had a rather awkward exchange with the BBC's Nicky Campbell today. Nicky Campbell, First Minister, how many genders are there? I think there'll be quite a debate about that, Nikki. There's no debate. There's two. But anyway, Nikki Campbell went on, well, what do you think? Certainly, from my point of view, I recognise that. Well, I think that on this debate, a woman is an adult born as a female, and that there are also transgender women. Yeah, there are also transgender women, but they're not women. Yeah, there's another term for transgender women. It's man. So anyway, Nikki Campbell continues. So, how many genders are there? Well, I think people debate and discuss that. From my point of view, there is male and female gender. Yes, but he didn't say that there's only male and female gender. Again, wriggling out with weasel words. It certainly wasn't an answer that went down well with everyone. Little more than a week after JK Rowling blasted Sir Keir Starmer's party for its dismissive and often offensive approach to concerns raised by gender-critical feminists, the Harry Potter author has struck again. The women's rights campaigner took to Twitter to post a scathing tweet about Swinney's rather suboptimal performance. But then he's a very suboptimal man, isn't he? The women's rights campaigner took to Twitter to post this and said the writer went on to slam the recording as being one in which the First Minister of Scotland does a very good impression of a teenager trying to bullshit his way through questions on a book he's never read. Well, it's a book he's never opened, has he? In fact, he doesn't own books. He can, all he does is read what he's told to read by his lord and master, who's standing next to him in that picture. Because make no bones about it, she's still running that party, isn't she? From behind the scenes. What a horrible little turd. Anyway, I'll come up, we'll round off. He's like so many slimy, slippery politicians. He refuses to answer a question which has a perfectly straightforward answer in case he offends such tiny, tiny amount. Well, I don't have that. Biological men are biological men, biological women are biological women. What goes on in their heads is immaterial. It's like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you believe, because facts don't care. Facts don't care what you choose to believe. Facts remain true. And unfortunately, some people can't deal with the harsh realities of life, and so they say, oh, look at you, you're full of hate, I feel hate. What they really mean is, oh, look at you being accurate. And they can't handle it. Sad for them. They need psychological help. Genuinely mean that. I'm not taking the mick. They genuinely need psychological help. Anyway, we'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.